Welcome, Grimlords. My name is Michael Pluzzi. I'm the creator of Grim the Card Game and the owner of Grimoire Games. And I want to thank you for joining me today for a very exciting and special announcement. But before we get into that, I want to take a moment to thank you, the community. You have taken what could otherwise be a very arduous solo development process and turned it into a day after day dream and passion. And I cannot thank you enough. I have said since day one that I am not creating a game to make a lot of money or something like that. I'm creating a game because I love strategy, and I want to put players and the community first and make a game that is affordable, that has a ton of depth and replayability. And I am happy to say that we have done that, but we would not have done that if it was not for you, the community. We've seen a bunch of awesome fan art in the Discord, lots of excitement and hype. We've done a bunch of successful giveaways. We've had multiple very successful, very strategic tournaments. We actually just wrapped up our third season of the Grim Prix, our official professional tournament series in the Discord. And of course, we've had countless matches outside of that. We've even had a bunch of members of the Discord get together and name every elemental combination in the game. There are 11 different elements, so mind you, there are 55 different elemental combinations. And their names were so good that I actually took them and made them formal designations that are now on the game's official website. My point is, this game would not exist if it was not for you. And I am committed to continuing to make decisions that put you, the players in the community, at the heart of it. So that brings us to today's announcement. I know that many of you are very excited to hold this game in your hands and to play it in physical. Many of you have printed the print and play that's available on our Discord in an effort to get that feeling, but there's really nothing like holding a real card game in your hands. And many of you are crossing your fingers hoping that we'll fund when the Kickstarter comes around, which we've been marketing as an October Kickstarter. Today's announcement is this. I am happy to announce that Grim the Card Game has officially funded. We are not doing a Kickstarter campaign, and instead I am personally funding the entirety of the game's production and manufacturing myself. Because I believe in the game, and frankly I know that you believe in the game. And it is in the best interest of you, the players, that we do it this way. I will spare you the long analysis, the number crunches, and the long nights of thinking that I've done. It really comes down to this. The benefits of crowdfunding are obvious. Guarantee, volume, and insurance against investment, and the like. All of those benefits, though, are really felt by me, the business owner, and the game developer. And they're not felt by players. In fact, the opposite happens for players. You get longer lead times, and you get usually a more expensive product. If I am self-funding the game, you will get it guaranteed if you pre-order, so you can rely on your excitement now, which is very awesome. And you'll also get it in a more timely manner and for a more cost-effective price. So for all intents and purposes, Grim the Card Game has funded. While I have you here, I want to talk briefly about why you should consider buying Grim the Card Game. Because I realize while our community is quite large, we have 850 in the Discord and about 5,000 on our Instagram, we're still getting new people finding the game every day. And many of you probably don't know much about Grim other than what you see in art posts and the like. So let's talk a little bit about why the game is unique. I actually had someone join the Discord not long ago and put it in a very insightful way, so I'm going to quote them. They said, Grim is the furthest thing that you'll find from a trading card game. While still being a card game and having a ton of theory crafting, it actually feels more like a board game than it does a card game. And this warms my heart to absolutely no end. I love board games, and frankly, I don't play a lot of card games, so it is very interesting that people have caught on that. But we have a ton of veteran card game players who have fallen in love with this game and have made it a lifestyle game for them. So let's talk about where that uniqueness comes from and how it feels when you play the game. Let's talk about its design. Grim the Card Game is a two-player creature battler. It's designed in Art Nouveau, and it's inspired by tarot. And the uniqueness starts with the way that the cards are provided to you. So this is Grim the Card Game, or the most recent prototype that we have from a manufacturer. When you buy the game, you get every single card in the game in this box. It is an expandable card game. So as expansions come out, they will be added to this box. But the great thing about this is that all you need is to buy this box and an opponent that is willing to learn the game and play with you. You don't have to rely on some other person having played locally and bought cards. You have the box, you can find someone to play. The other thing that's great about that is that no player comes to the table with a material advantage over the other for having bought a meta-defining or very expensive deck. You both draft from the same pool of cards, and so ostensibly, given the balance of the game, the player with a better strategy or the better ability to adapt throughout the game is going to win the game. Important to that is the balance. Let's talk about how you play the game. You play by combining 2 of 11 Elemental Grim decks together. I mentioned there are 55 different combinations. That is a lot of replayability, and I can tell you with a lot of experience that we have many players who have played over 100 matches of this game, and they will tell you that no 2 games are the same. In fact, there are over 200,000 pre-game states given the picks and bans that happen before the game begins. Pairing these 2 Elemental Grim decks together is really at the heart of the game, so let's talk about that. These Elemental Grim decks can be thought of sort of like factions. They all have elemental leanings. Water is more defensive and builds stamina, redirects attacks. Fire is more offensive and burns off enemy attachments. Plant is better at healing and can steal spirits from their opponent. They all have sort of vibes or feelings to them, and you can further tailor your playstyle and your unique identity within the game by pairing 2 of those together. Maybe you're a fire and dark player, we call that Calamity. Maybe you're a water and electric player, we call that Shockwave. And you can adapt that playstyle as you learn the game. Find a main that you really like and then play every element around it in a wheel. Find another element you like and do the same thing and keep moving. You might not even be the one making that decision because I mentioned there are bans in the game. Before the match begins, you'll choose 2 decks to put together, but you'll also ban decks from your opponent, preventing them from choosing them. So if I know that you're a dark main and I'm feeling kind of rude, I might ban dark from you, or I might actually take dark from you, which forces you to adapt to new decks. So if you're sick of playing card games where you've already pre-constructed a deck and you bring that to tournaments and you really just want something new, but you don't love the idea of constantly rebuilding or constructing a new deck, this game is perfect for you because you already have these sort of pre-constructed decks that you smash together, and you will feel a very different style of game every time you play as a result of that. Let's talk a little bit about the balance of the game. I mentioned that there are 11 of these decks, 55 different combinations. This is a closed universe game. I, as a developer in good faith, could not provide you a game that is not balanced. And as a result of that, we have put over 5,000 hours of gameplay, strategic match gameplay, into developing this game. Every single element is balanced among the rest. Every player will tell you that no element is better than another. Some of them might fit certain playstyles, but none of them is materially better than another. All of this comes down to having a broad mechanic structure in the game and turning different knobs where they should be turned to achieve that blanket balance. Then all of those 55 combinations as a result of that internal balance are also balanced among each other. I can also tell you that this game is not going to feel like any other game. That one player who joined our Discord said it felt more like a board game than a card game. That makes sense because I can tell you quite vulnerably that I do not play card games. Other than friends who are also indie developers, I've learned their games and I actually quite love them. I don't come from a card game background. I don't play Magic, I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh!, and I don't play the Pokemon TCG. I am an attorney, and my day job is writing and balancing rules, finding loopholes, and patching them. As a result of that, my game is not close to any other game, it's not even really a close cousin to any other game, and the mechanics are quite unique. Let's talk finally about the future of the game. I have always said that this game has been designed from the ground up with a future in mind. And a big part of that, actually a great way to illustrate that, is the box. So this is just a prototype, but it's a good example of what the box will eventually look like. So when you receive the box, you'll find a divider on the inside and a foam insert on the right. And all of the cards will be available and slotted into one side. And actually, you can sleeve all of the cards and fit them upright or face down on one side of the box. And it's been designed to allow 3 already planned, additional expansions fully sleeved inside of the box. I have already started designing expansions, and they're not going to be released for quite a while, but I can tell you with absolute certainty that when you learn how to play the game, once you see these expansions, they will blow your mind. They are so interesting and so elegant as additions to the game. So I implore you, join the Discord now and find one of our instructors to do a teaching match with you. Get involved in the community. We are very warm. We are very supportive. We love having new friends. Get involved. Get knowledgeable of the game now so that you'll be really excited when reveals and hype comes later for expansions. Watch the YouTube, follow the Instagram, get excited that we have officially funded, and most importantly, have a grim day. Thank you.